Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes. Hope you are well. Hope you're enjoying, as I said before in the earlier part, Christmas Eve. As the hours go by, we're getting closer and closer to that big day with Christmas Eve and then into Christmas Day on Wednesday. How exciting is that? Absolutely brilliant. This is the second show of today, of Monday. It is the last show before Christmas Day. I won't be doing a recording on Christmas Day. Normally I do a Monday, Wednesday and Thursday recording. I will be changing it this week to Monday, obviously today, and I'll be doing a Thursday morning live stream because obviously on Thursday we have the next game week, don't we? Game week 18 is earlier this week. It's not on a Saturday, people. It's not on a Friday, so don't go waiting until then to do your teams for Fantasy Premier League. Make sure you get it in ASAP. It's on Thursday this week. And that's what this episode is all about. Part 23 of FPL. As you can see, we're getting festive. We're already festive for about 2 or 3 weeks now. But I've popped a little bit up here in the conservatory. We are live from my conservatory. Keeping it real, people. Absolutely. I will share my screen so you guys can see what I've got going on, and we can talk all things fantasy, all things Premier League. So, as I've just said there, the matches next up are on Thursday, 26th, on Boxing Day, our typical fixtures every year. And we got some decent games, haven't we? We've got City versus Everton at 12:30, the early kickoff. Then we have a couple of 3 p.m. as we have Bournemouth versus Crystal Palace, Chelsea versus Fulham, a London derby there. We have a Newcastle Aston Villa, good game that one, both in decent form. Forest versus Spurs. It's going to be an okay game. Southampton versus West Ham. Wolverhampton Wanderers, Man United. It'll be interesting one, that one as well. Wolves doing well and United being a bit eek and a bit dodgy. Liverpool versus Leicester. I can see what's going to happen in that match. We have then a Brighton versus Brentford on Friday. And we have Arsenal Ipswich on Friday also. And then we have Sunday fixtures for game week 19. So those are the fixtures for this week. Thursdays along the top and Fridays squeezed in along the bottom there as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games, of course we do, starting at 12:30 on Thursday. In terms of what I think, well, I've been predictive for a few weeks now, haven't I, about what's going to happen in the matches. Haven't really been that good so far. You know what the irony is, even though it's a 12:30 kickoff and even though it's at the Etihad Stadium, Manchester City versus Everton, I can see Everton doing it, getting a draw in this one. I really can. Dyche ball again. Obviously, the previous match against Chelsea for Everton was at home. The game for Manchester City when they lost to Aston Villa was away at Villa Park. So you would assume, expect, and maybe hope, if you're not an Everton fan, that Man City will actually do something at home at the Etihad. They do not want to annoy and upset their home fans in Manchester. So 12:30 kickoff is going to be an interesting one. I agree with the predictions. I do think Manchester City will bounce back. Even though Everton have been really good and surprised a few people, I still think it's Manchester City's win. And I am hoping that keeping Haaland will be vindicated on Thursday at 12:30 when they kick off. At least a goal or two just to avoid and stem the flow of people trying to get Haaland out of their teams if they've already got him in. Bournemouth versus Crystal Palace. That's going to be an okay game, I think. Bournemouth doing well. Crystal Palace lost against Arsenal, but a decent side still. Can I see Crystal Palace winning? No. And see them scoring, not winning. Bournemouth are just steamrolling at the moment. I think they're really, really solid. Iraola's got him playing brilliantly. He's come in seamlessly and took over and done really, really well at Bournemouth. I think they can see them squeezing the win there, 2-1 in that one. Chelsea, Fulham, that's going to be a good game, isn't it, really? Fulham got a draw in the last match, didn't they? Chelsea, again, a draw as well. I can see Chelsea scoring against Stamford Bridge at home. Cole Palmer hasn't scored in a couple of games now. Jackson has scored in the last few weeks, but I think he'll score again. I'm hoping for a couple of goals in this one and Jackson to be involved. Enzo I've brought in, don't forget. In fact, the spine of my team, ironically, has become Chelsea for some reason. I've got Colwell having over defence, Enzo Fernandez in midfield, and I've got Nicholas Jackson up front. So no room for Enzo Maresca when we get this assistant manager chip at the moment. But I've got the spine of the team, Chelsea at the moment. Very strange. But yes, I do. So Chelsea, all three players, I'm hoping they do well. Clean sheet be lovely. Enzo and Jackson involved will be very nice. Thank you very much at 3 o'clock. Newcastle, Aston Villa, I can see goals this one. I really can. I can see a couple for Newcastle and a couple for Villa. Maybe a goal or two for Villa. It's probably 2 or 3 for Newcastle And obviously, we're going to go straight to that man that everyone's got in their team at the moment, bar me, Alexander Isak. He has been brilliant. He's usually quite good every single season, but it just feels like a bit of a breakout year for him, heavy breakout year as well, almost taken over from Haaland. And you're thinking Haaland's the asset for Fantasy Premier League and Salah. Isak's doing that right now, isn't he? Duran for Villa. Wow. I didn't expect him to perform so consistently. I thought he was always been an impact sub, hasn't he? Really, I know he's done well as he's come on as an impact sub, but wow, really good player. And I could see him getting a goal in that game. But I can see Isak stealing the show all day long. Nottingham Forest versus Tottenham. Forest win. Though Tottenham are scoring, doing well, I just think Forest have that savviness, that defensive stability that Tottenham don't have. And Fraser Forster in goal for Tottenham, he looks like a liability every single time the ball is near his feet, every time the ball is near the goal even. Yeah, he looks like he's not Sony Vicario. On the other hand, was really solid for Spurs. Compared to Forster, there is no comparison. Forest win. I can see it. I can see maybe a scrape win, sort of 2-1, 3-2 goals in this one. No clean sheet for either side, I don't think, in this one. So Forest win. Southampton versus West Ham. Simply put, though Southampton might be on an upward trajectory a little bit, they got a draw in the last match, 0-0. I still think West Ham will beat them. Kudos and Bowen, I've raved about those two in the past few parts that I've done for FPL Talk. I'm going to rave about them again. They are the reason why Lopetegui hasn't been sacked. Then those two, and ironically, Fabianski in goal coming back in for Areola has done really well. So, the two up front, Kudos and Bowen, are the reason why Southampton will lose, unfortunately, against West Ham, even though they're at home at 3 o'clock. Wolves and United. Wolves win. Great win again. United, though, are conceding quite a bit. I think that Amorim will get into them for this match. He'll say, get up for it. We need to score. We need to do well. We need to perform. We need to put that negative result against Bournemouth to one side. Though Cunha, if he's not banned and he's available to play, I think he'll steal the show. 2-1 to Wolves in that game. I'm hoping Amad Diallo does something to vindicate my side, because I brought him in, don't forget, didn't I? From one of the Morgan Rogers and the Rutter, Jorginho Rutter. So I'm hoping they do score, and I'm hoping Amad Diallo is pretty much on the end of it or doing something in that game. Liverpool-Leicester, simply put, Liverpool thrashing. That's it. They're going to beat Leicester quite heavily. 3, maybe 4-1, something along those lines. Maybe a 3-0 or a 4-0 as well. Mo Salah's going to steal it, isn't he? He steals a show every single time. Diaz did brilliantly as well. Szoboszlai got a hat-trick of assists in the previous game, didn't he, against Spurs? So I could see similar again. If anything's going to happen to Leicester, it'll be consolation goal, or maybe the first, and then Liverpool will steamroll the game. Vardy, one to watch in that one for Leicester, maybe Bonawate, those two involved. And then we got the final 2 games on the Friday. Brentford versus Brighton over at the Amex at Brighton's ground. Interesting game, this one. I can see a draw. Probably a 1-1 in this one. Not a particularly heavily scoring game. In terms of Brighton, João Pedro is a great player for Mitoma. Those are the 2 big attacking threats. Maybe Welbeck if he plays as well and starts. And as for Brentford, I could see Mbeumo do something in this one. I'm hoping Risa does something, please, Risa. I could do with the points. I did okay last game week. Could just about beat the average by 3. So scraped beating the average, and that was because of one player, and one player only, Mo Salah. Let's be honest. You don't have him, you don't captain him. Fantasy's over for you almost, isn't it, really? Cole Palmer was another one that we were talking about a while ago. If you don't have him, your fantasy's over. So, yes, hopefully Mbeumo and Wissa, more importantly, do well for Brentford. And then finally, the last game on the system, which is Ipswich versus Arsenal at the Emirates. The later game at 8:15, the last match on the Friday. Simply put, Arsenal win. Ipswich are decent. They're just not very attacking, really, are they? They're more defensively okay. I can see Arsenal winning this, not by much, though. Maybe a 2-0 eventually. What will surprise me a little bit is if Ipswich Town score, which they probably will now. I've just jinxed that. Even if they do score, it will wipe out my clean sheet for everyone, really. That's the Gabriel owners, Saliba, the Timber owners, and more importantly, the Riot owners. I hope they don't score, but I can see Arsenal winning by a few. 2 goals probably in this one. Now, the big question is Bukayo Saka going to be... Well, is he even going to be discussed? I guess they're going to discuss him before the match, aren't they? In terms of Arteta telling us his fitness and his injury update, because he went off, didn't he, after 20-odd minutes in the previous match. with a hamstring injury. I'm hoping it's not serious from both a personal perspective because I love Bukayo Saka, and from obviously a fantasy perspective because I have him in my team. And the aggro of getting out Bukayo Saka and hoping that he doesn't drop and then bring him back in again is just too much, really, isn't it? So I would much rather Bukayo Saka not be out for a long period of time, keep him in the team, play the rest of the team, because the rest of my team is half decent, which I'll show you in a minute, and just see how we get on with that sort of things. Obviously, I have Raya and I have Bukayo Saka involved in that game. Arsenal 2-0, hopefully not 2-1 because that'll make it a bit edgy. 2-0, maybe 3-1 if Ipswich score. In terms of Ipswich, I like Leif Davis. I think he's probably the best player in their team, apart from Delap, maybe. A lot of people will probably disagree with that as well. Maybe there's more, but I look at those two players and I think, yes, okay, they're the two sort of main sort of threats, in my opinion. It is true, you know. Leif Davis has got a good cross on him. He's quite attacking. He's a good player, good defender. And then Delap, everyone was looking at him, weren't they? A few weeks ago when he did really well and was on a bit of a purple patch. Gone quiet, Delap a little bit. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. As always, guys, I'm on the socials, aren't I? I say this every single part, and I'll say it again on this part. I'm on Facebook, AJP85-channel. I'm on X, AJ1985P. I'm on Twitch, A_J_P_8_5. And on YouTube, of course, where the streams go afterwards, AJ Hardy85. Follow, like, subscribe, please, and we can be special friends. Do so and leave comments if you would do. Send me a personal message, but leave the comments on there as well so we can have a chat. Good or bad, make them good mainly though. Anything bad, and yeah, I will reply. But no, I'll chat to you guys. Anything fantasy, anything football. So I've been doing this for years. It's nothing pretentious about these streams. I'm sat in my conservatory. You know, I've got my headphones on, got a mouse, got a laptop. That's all you need. I'm playing it like you guys would play the game. That's right. Indeed. So we will swiftly move on to my team and we'll see exactly what you think of it. That is the team that I've selected thus far for the next game week. We have Raya in goal. It is him versus Ipswich, or it is Fabianski versus Southampton. And I've picked it for two reasons. One, because Arsenal are at home, and two, because, quite frankly, they're Arsenal and there's a point to having Raya in your team. You play him every week, don't you, pretty much? So Raya is in goal for me. He has Ipswich at home. Gomez, whether he gets a clean sheet, fingers crossed. I'm hopeful. It's a home and expectant. Let's put it that way. In fact, all my defenders at the moment have home matches because Gomez for Liverpool has Leicester at home. Again, a good chance of a clean sheet in this game. It is Leicester, so Raya and Gomez both have teams that have come up from the Championship, and I'm hoping that will pay dividends. Both are at home, and I'm expecting, hopeful, kind of touch wood, that both of them deliver 6 points. So that should be 12, all being well. Now, Colwell did well. He got a clean sheet in the previous match against Everton. So I'm hoping against Fulham, though it's a London derby to a degree, I'm hoping for something maybe from Colwell, a sneaky clean sheet, and that one will be very, very nice indeed. And that will give me a lovely 18 before bonus points or even save points for Raya if that happens. So 666. Anyone who's superstitious quickly touch them. But yes, 3 6s across the board there for the defenders thus far. Lewis, 2. And as much as I hate to say it, it's one of these things in Man City. You just can't bank on anything, really. I can't bank on a clean sheet these days. I can't blank. I got that golden night from Lewis, but then he got sent off. He's getting yellow cards now as well. He's become one of those players where you go, oh, yeah, he's doing really well. He's a great cheap way into the City team to suddenly, oh, God, why have I still got him? There's loads of players around at 4.5 and 4.6, 4.7 who have probably got clean sheets every single week, Newcastle being one of the big ones. And yet I'm carrying on with Lewis for some reason, like he's the holy grail of defenders. I'll keep him for now, purely because he's cheap, purely because his price hasn't really affected me too much. So, no, I don't expect a clean sheet from Lewis. Do I expect an assist? I would love it. Do I expect a goal? No. Do I expect a yellow card? I hope not, because that's all he's been giving me is cards and poor scores in the past few weeks, apart from the goal that he scored, but he got a bloody red, didn't he? So not the greatest in the end. Saka is in the team as vice-captain. Doesn't matter that he's vice-captain at the moment because Salah is the captain at the second. He's also in the team in the hope that his injury isn't serious. The problem I've got, and from what I've seen and read, he went on crutches as he left the stadium. So that is a worry. He's put down as a 75% hamstring, but I think that's purely because everyone is waiting for that diagnosis, aren't they, really? And that prognosis from his scan. 23 minutes he played in the previous match, and he even conceded a goal, so not great. got me 1 point, and he's down as vice. It's not a problem because the main man, Mo Salah, I see no reason, unless an injury occurs, touch wood it doesn't, that he doesn't play for Leicester, start, and more importantly, get me a goal or two. I can see a couple in this one for him again. He is captain, naturally, always captain Salah, ACS. Hashtag that one, always captain. I've put an X post up already about Salah. You've got to have him in your captaincy if you've got him in your team, expecting him to score against Leicester at home. Amad Diallo, keeping the faith with him. He's got Wolves away. You would assume normally a decent fixture for any team, really, although Wolves are good, but they do concede. So, fingers crossed, any goals that go into the Wolves net are Amad Diallo related. Assist or goal would be very nice. Amad, make it happen, my friend. He's got Wolves away for Man United. Enzo, I brought him in because of his form. Have I jumped on a bandwagon that is finished? That's the question. Enzo, the only thing I can hope from Enzo really is goals and assists and what he's been doing now, and more importantly, price increases. Because if I need to move him on, and if it looks like he's fell off a cliff with his, his form, etc., at least I can make some money off him when I move him on. Enzo's got Fulham. Chelsea have Fulham at home. I'm hoping in that London derby that it's going to be a Chelsea win, a clean sheet, and Enzo and Nicholas Jackson involved. That would be very nice indeed. Fingers crossed. Wisa has Brighton. He's up front for me, the ever useful Wisa, but he's always a bit hit and miss, isn't he, at the moment? So, and as are Brentford in general. Wisa has Brighton away. Brighton are a bit, they do concede, so that's one positive to come up this. I'm hoping that he is involved mainly with the goal or goals or anything like that. The assists are useful, but he's a forward at the end of the day, and they thrive off goals, as does Brian and Buemo, who I'm sure will be involved if Brentford are going to do well against Brighton. So Brentford have Brighton away at the Amex. And then Nicholas Jackson faces Fulham, as does Enzo and Colwell at home. And again, I'm hoping for involvement. He hit the post, didn't he, in the last game week in the match against Everton. I'm hoping he doesn't hit posts and starts hitting the back of the net. That'll be very nice. Start finding the net, Nicholas. Don't be doing what you were doing previous seasons where you were getting all these chances but not finishing them. Let's get goals now. Nicholas Jackson has Fulham for Chelsea. Hopefully he does well. And then finally, the final choice that is extremely controversial, and this last season before, would never have been in question at all. It would have been absolutely blasphemous to say the following. But Erling Haaland against Everton, will he do something? Will he? Big question mark. Call me mad. Call me one of those mannequins people that have just kept a player through thick and thin in the hope that he does well. The one thing about him, and that's all I will say, and Man City as well, is if, and they will, I'm touching wood, but let's be honest, I'm not even being hopeful here, I'm being genuine. At some point, they will click. And I don't want to be that player that's kicked him out of the team that has to change about 4 or 5 things around the team to get him back into the team. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm hoping for a miracle. I'm not. Haaland scoring is not a miracle. I'm hoping for him to actually score and then watch the transfers roll in. Right now, a lot of people are settling with Isak and Nicholas Jackson. Isak's 100% great, but to get him into my team, I'm going to mess about with it a bit too much, especially as he's rocketed up price now. He's like 9 million or something like that, which is still pretty good value for him if he keeps scoring with the amount of goals that he's getting this second. But nonetheless, would I rather have a Haaland player who's on form, or would I rather have an Isak who's doing really, really well, probably will continue to do well, but can be a little bit injury prone? We've got out of form Haaland, potentially injury prone Isak. I don't know. I know exactly what you're screaming at me right now. Use current form, AJ. Look at the form. Isak should be in your team. Haaland out. Haaland gets another chance for at least another week or so. And if he carries on underperforming, and if City look like they're going to do nothing up to Christmas and after Christmas, actually, we're looking at Boxing Day and after into the new year, then maybe when the wild card comes up, I've got a chance to play around with it. As it stands, I've invested in him. I've invested in Saka. I've invested in Salah. I've invested in Jackson for a reason, in the hope that they do something. So Haaland has Everton at home. Can that be an opportunity for him to score? He'll have had this Christmas break. He'd have eaten a lot of turkey and a lot of... I'm sure they're on a good diet. Hopefully he comes back firing. And let's do the rest of the Man City team. Everton at home, Manchester City. Bench, Southampton away to... Fabianski away to Southampton, should I say, rather. It would have been a good fixture if Raya had a more tricky and challenging one, but I just think Raya versus Ipswich is a definite at home, especially. Fabianski is away to Southampton. So again, that's marginally tricky because he's away. Brennan Johnson was substituted on, did get an assist, thank God, because if he didn't get an assist, I could have pictured him going down immediately last night on the price change. He has Nottingham Forest up next away. I could actually see him playing a bit more than, a small cameo. I can actually see him starting for once, and maybe even getting a goal in that game as well to hopefully, cease that mass transfer out and maybe make people go, okay, maybe keep him for another week, that kind of attitude towards him. That will allow me then to transfer him out if I need to. I have one transfer, don't forget, this week. Dragusin, I've put him on the bench just because I fancy, not because I don't think he's going to get a clean sheet, although Tottenham are very shaky. Forster, I don't like in goal, and I don't like Gray alongside Dragusin. I was hoping by now that maybe Romero, maybe Van der Ven would be back and their injury wouldn't be as serious. Both look like they're going to be out until January. So just having a Spurs player in there is helpfully unhelpful at the moment because he's cheap. That's why I've brought him in. He's definitely playing for now. He's the only sort of proper centre-half. But again, does that matter if the team are going to concede? Mikolenko on the watch list for that. Dragusin right now has, well, not right now, but we'll be playing Nottingham Forest, as will Johnson. Similar scenario. I do think that they're going to concede. I do think that Nottingham Forest are going to score. They are at home after all, so I can't see Dragusin getting a clean sheet, which means that he sticks on the bench. I think I've got a better chance of clean sheets from the current defenders as it stands, which is in Colwell. Lewis just about maybe, but again, even he's edgy just because he's got a home fixture. I've got him in. And Gomez against Leicester. I see those three more likely to get more points than Dragusin if he concedes one against a fairly good, buoyant Nottingham Forest team. And then we've got Kwanzaa on the bench now. If you remember in the previous part, I mentioned the excitement of having Greaves dropping down to 3.9. I know he's not in favour. That might have just been because he was injured and he might be growing his fitness back, straight back into the first team. If that happens, out goes Burgess, in comes Greaves, and we've got ourselves a 3.9 guaranteed starter again. Because I do think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to mix things up, Ipswich. I think they're going to bring Greaves back in at some point. And I think that's when we'll see that change for me as well. Kwanzaa looks like he's getting no minutes. Kanate is probably getting fitter and fitter by the days and the weeks as they go on. Gomez will drop to bench. Kanate will come into first team. Kwanzaa will be exiled completely, in my opinion. So Kwanzaa would have played Leicester if he was even in the team. He's not. Gomez is, and therefore that's an easy benching for me. So that's the starting 11 right there. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Obviously, you mentioned the socials a minute ago. Let me know on X or on Facebook or on YouTube what you think of that particular team. I personally think it's capable of getting good points this week. I know I've not done well in the past few weeks. Previous game, week 17, I did all right. 63 out of 63, which is not too bad, was it, really? I'll take that. So 63 out of 60 is pretty good, the average being 60, so I beat it slightly. Take that. That's what I'm aiming to do. I said that at the very start of these podcasts. My plan every week is not mini league and all that kind of stuff and, leagues. It's more about, can I beat the average every single week? And like that, it's easier. So yeah, I have dropped quite badly off a cliff for my overall. I'm 1,759,494, but with a good game week, that could easily go towards the million mark and then under, hopefully, all being well. Out of the Arsenal fans, because I'm an Arsenal fan after all, I'm 270,000th. England altogether, I'm 484th. So yeah, doing okay in the Classic League. I'm 6th, not greatest. Not great in I'm on Redis's course as well. That league, not doing too bad, not doing too great. 17,000, I think that's mid-ish. Sorted out SI because I'm a big fan of Football Manager, of course, and there's the guys of that. I'm 1,000th there, which is pretty decent. And the Sky Sports League, I'm 548,000, so that's about halfway, if not a little bit more. So there you go. That's the team that I'll be putting out this weekend with the hope of getting points. I expect the defence to do okay. Saka's gone red flag. What's that because of? Well, it's gone. Did you see that a minute ago? From yellow to red then while we're live. Interesting. That's a worry. That's why Brennan Johnson is first on the bench, because if Saka doesn't play, Brennan Johnson did get an assist in the previous match, so I might get something from him. Really quickly, we'll go over the price predictor, what's going to go on this evening and what's happening tomorrow in terms of ups and downs, fallers. Keep an eye on this, people. Ramsdale is expected to drop tonight. Not sure about that because he did all right. Walker Peters similarly as well. Expected to drop to 4.3s, both of those. Anderson, that would be lovely if he goes down to 4.1. Wow, I'd get him in, I think, pretty much instantaneously for Kwanzaa. I think he'd be a great player to bring in. Guardiola at 6.1 will drop to 6 potentially tonight. Kundal will also drop to 4.4. Townsend's going to drop to 3.9 and 3.9 defender for Ipswich. Bentley, goalkeeper, 3.9 potentially from Wolves. Romero maybe will drop depending on the algorithm for injuries. 4.9 will drop to tonight. Konza for Villa might drop to 4.3. Very interesting if he does. But Villa are again a bit sketchy defensively. Calvert-Lewin dropping to 5.4 potentially tonight. Harry Winks dropping to 4.4. Dunk has been dropping for ages, 4.3 maybe. Onana to 4.8. Morton, Liverpool midfielder, no one really knows much about him, 4.3. Potentially tonight. Veltman to 4.4. There you go. A Brighton defender potentially. A drop of Kilman to 4.4 for West Ham. Kelleher naturally will drop because Alisson is back to 4.4. Tavernier might drop to 5.4, but he's injured. Algorithm again. I've got to keep an eye on Brennan Johnson. If I'm going to pull the trigger, it's going to be tonight. If I do, it's going to be Kulusevski or Jacob Murphy, someone like that from Newcastle. That's potentially on the cards. So Johnson might drop to 6.5 tonight. Dalot might drop to 5.1. Jorginho Rutter, who I got rid of a few weeks back, if you remember, might drop to 5.4. Isak is potentially going up to 9 million this evening. Kulusevski, someone I'm watching again, might go up to 6.4 tonight. Lewis Hall may go up to 4.7. Duran, everyone's watching him, aren't they? He's doing well, isn't he? 5.9 tonight, potentially. Alexander Arnold. Trent, 7.1. Amad Diallo, someone who's on my team, may go up to 5.4 this evening. Lots of tomorrows. Potentially as well. We'll really quickly mention those. Sangar might go down. Kovacic might go down. Beto from Everton might go down. Ndidi might go down as well. De Bruyne might go down. Ivan Nielsen might go down. Watkins might go down. And Welbeck, Luis Diaz, I don't think it's going to go down now. And Saka, but Saka's already dropped, hasn't he? So we will see going up. Rodgers, potentially. Maddison, potentially. And Cole Palmer because of that injury to Saka if you don't already have Cole. So lots going on at the moment, lots to keep an eye on. Obviously, check out Reddit as well. But more importantly, people, why are you not on my X? Why are you not on my Facebook? Why are you not on all of the bits that I use, people? Absolutely. I'm reading something here just to confirm. Arteta said it's not looking good. He's going to be out for many weeks on Saka. This idea I might get out Brennan Johnson and I might bring in Kulusevski may have to wait, and I can see why everyone's fallen over themselves with Cole Palmer. Could be a problem being Cole Palmer, and considering I've got 3 Chelsea players, probably not going to be likely, but Saka being moved on may well be likely this evening, people. If that is the case, I could end up losing quite a bit on him. Many weeks is too long. That sounds problematic. Many weeks, it's vague, but it's also enough to say that's not ideal, really. You know, people saying, what's this here? Philip a couple of times a season makes me think he's actually telling the truth. Yeah, well, I think a lot of people say that because of the way that Arteta is with his press conferences, aren't they, really? He's a bit coy. So, yeah, something to look at, really, that, isn't it? Gone for Foden. Wow. Someone's really going for it. A lot of people are looking at Martinelli. I'm thinking the same, maybe sticking with the Arsenal idea here. The Arsenal side of things, it's one of those, isn't it? Maybe it's basically a question of which Arsenal asset, if you're going to have the Arsenal coverage, that you're going to go for. Martinelli is the natural one that you're looking at really there with Trossard on the other side. But then if Sterling comes back from injury, he's back soon. I'm sure he will be. Does he fight for his place in the team? Martinelli did score. He got 7 in the last match, didn't he? So Martinelli, maybe a Trossard, but Trossard might be kicked out if Sterling comes back. Yeah, a bit of an interesting one. Didn't score in the previous match despite Arsenal getting quite a few goals. So, yeah, attacking wise, maybe Odegaard. But again, Odegaard hasn't done anything for weeks. Look at this. Hasn't done anything since West Ham. And then Forest a few weeks ago, and then Chelsea. So Martinelli, attacking wise, might be the one to go for this evening if you are planning to get rid. I'm not going to pull the trigger just yet on Saka. The reason being because he was a bit away. Not completely, but he was a little bit away from going down again. You know, the question is, do I get rid of Johnson? Probably not, because Johnson itself is on 6.5 and drops again. So Johnson may stay in the team. It's a question of, did I want Kulusevski before he went up? But he's going to go to 6.4. So it might be a matter of wait until Thursday for the Johnson-Kulusevski transfer, or Johnson to Jacob Murphy and focus more on Saka, especially if he's going to go down again. But you could argue I'm covered with that sense as well. We're talking price here. So right this second, I bought Saka for 10 million. He was on 10.6 the other day. He's dropped to 10.5 now. If he drops again, I don't lose that much value, really. It's if he drops after 10.4. So in terms of looking at the value, Saka 10.4 or less, and I lose my value on him. Right now, I can sell him for 10.2, regardless of whether he goes down in price once. So maybe the Saka thing's urgent. Maybe it's not. Got to be worried and concerned that he doesn't go down too many times in one game week. He's already gone down once. Another one, and I've got a bit of a problem in terms of value lost in him. So the rest of the team are starting. The rest of the team played by Brennan Johnson, who's probably going to play, in Kwanzaa, who doesn't play at all. It's a question of Arsenal coverage now. Do I want the coverage for the game against Ipswich? Probably do. Will I get rid of Saka? More than likely. So expect that to be the transfer for Thursday. Ladies and gents, as always, Merry Christmas to you all, because this will be the last post that I do and the last live part before Christmas, part 23. I will see you guys on Thursday at around about 10, 11 o'clock, maybe in the morning, to do a Boxing Day post and live stream. But otherwise, once again, have a merry Christmas to you all, guys. Hope you have a great day on Wednesday. Hope you eat lots of mince pies and have great turkey dinners and open some wonderful presents and spend a lot of time with your family and your friends. I will see you wonderful people on Thursday. As always, thanks for watching, whether it's live or on the catch up on YouTube, which I'll post this on. Part 23 is over. Part 24 will be on Thursday, and it'll be all pre-game week 18. Check this out. See you guys. Merry Christmas to you all, and I'll see you on Thursday.